The story of Romulus and Remus is the story of the founding of Rome. Twin brothers cast into the wilderness, raised by wolves who make their fortune as adults when they set out to build a city, a real and magnificent home, unlike their shabby upbringing.
The only thing they can't agree on is which of the 7 hills Rome would ultimately rest on. One desired that Rome be built in a spot that's today home to a museum. The other fancied a location now taken up by a wealthy residential neighborhood.
To settle the argument of where to begin building Rome, the brothers engaged in a contest of augury, an ancient religious practice where omens are interpreted from the observed behavior of birds.
Nevertheless, the twins cannot agree, and Remus is killed. A festival is thrown in his honor, and an empty throne was set side by side with his brothers, with a scepter and a crown, so that even in his absence, the people would feel the presence of the departed brother.
You are watching The End of History, a video essay series about Ridley and Tony Scott. In past episodes, we've taken a look at the brothers' biographies, why their films were so impactful on our young lives, their styles as artists, and the impact of that style on American culture. What we haven't done is taken time to really inspect the brothers' working relationship.
We talked the whole way through writing this series about how Ridley Scott today cuts a figure not dissimilar to Logan Roy from Succession.
Screw you, okay? Donald, I love working with each and every one of you.
The issue here, sir, is that everyone fucking hates you.
It's cloudy.
Fuck you, thank you very much. Fuck you. Go fuck yourself. Go on. So, go on.
Logan, have you thought about the possibility that your children are actually scared of you?
Oh, fuck off. After what they've done to me, fuck off.
But of course, the crucial difference between the two oligarchs is that Ridley Scott actually does love his family and shows it. He helped his children and grandchildren get into the movie business, and the most important relationship in his life was with his brother Tony.
And finally, my brother Tony would have been here tonight for sure, and I know many of you knew and loved him. I miss you, Tony.
At first glance, their work seems entirely unrelated. Only occasionally do the subjects of their films ever cross paths. Their shooting styles and editing techniques seem almost at odds with one another rather than the product of two men raised in the same home by the same people, who worked side by side in commercials and short films for a decade, who never made a move in their careers without the other nearby. But boys will be boys.
Despite the huge budgets and impressive scale of much of their work, the Scott brothers approach many of their projects with a familial mentality. Throughout their careers, you can see them passing actors and crew members back and forth as if to say, yeah, I've got a guy for that. Both of their first big studio films, The Duelists and The Hunger, share an editor, Pamela Power.
It isn't enough that the people the Scott brothers share consistently turning great work. Many of them wound up shaping American cinema just as the Scott brothers did. This couldn't be more true of the brothers' most frequently shared collaborators.
Both Denzel Washington and Hans Zimmer defined so much of where American cinema would go stylistically in the 90s and 2000s. We don't think it's a stretch to say that the Scott brothers used the shrewdness they accrued during their years as commercial directors when they went about choosing collaborators. They knew what people wanted, and more importantly, what people would pay for, and in so doing they created a kind of unmistakable brand of sturdy, humanist blockbuster. The martial score Zimmer composes for Crimson Tide becomes the blueprint for the rest of his work.
If we chart the trajectory of the ebbs and flows of their careers, we can see how one brother's successes and failures may have pointed the other towards certain projects.
After Blade Runner, The Hunger, and Legend performed so poorly, Tony steers clear of sci-fi and fantasy and instead makes a gung-ho action drama about Navy pilots. And he follows that up with Beverly Hills Cop 2. Both films huge runaway successes, both about real people behind big engines, taking down bad guys, kicking ass. High five!
Ridley responds to this by making 2 cop movies of his own. The first a box office bomb, the second a big hit, but not a film that's remained in the public consciousness since its release.
After revenge bombs, Tony goes back to what he knows, taking the adrenaline and machinery and Tom Cruise to... taking the adrenaline of machinery and Tom Cruise to stock car racing. Ridley's response is to make his own movie animated by Days of Thunder's Heartland Americana, their most uncynical pieces about what it means to be an American.
When Tony takes a stab at a peacetime military film with Crimson Tide, Ridley responds in kind with G.I. Jane.
Both the brothers find themselves in update mode next, with Tony's The Fan, a very 90s redo of The King of Comedy, and Enemy of the State, a modern approach to the conversation, both with original cast members, while Ridley brings Spartacus into the 2000s with Gladiator.
Body of Lies is Ridley's version of Spy Game, in which an older hand guides a hot young operative, both of which reflect Ridley and Tony's working relationship. After Tony makes back-to-back films with Denzel, Ridley steals him for American Gangster.
It's clear that Tony's successes and tastes, being more aligned with what America wanted, seemed to always kind of pull Ridley. He could never fully commit to making a movie as fuel-injected as Tony would, but it's clear that Ridley saw that his brother really knew what would sell and chased him for so much of his career. After all, what is Black Hawk Down but a gauntlet thrown to his brother after a decade of watching him succeed at making action films? Follow this, why don't you?
Hey, guys! Stay away from the walls. Okay? Yeah!
Unsurprisingly, the next time we see Tony directing, he's completely reinvented his own action direction. Their competition brought out their best as filmmakers, if perhaps their worst as socio-political thinkers.
It also isn't happenstance that right around the time of Tony's passing in 2012, we see a shift in Ridley's chosen projects. Ridley's films have more often than not concerned the nature of family, by blood or otherwise, of a collective humanity represented through intimate relationships.
3 times since his brother's death, Ridley has presented us with fraternal relationships on screen. Further proof that he's working through his brother's passing might be found in the fact that avowed atheist Ridley Scott tells the story of 2 brothers enthralled to God, until now a presence unfelt and uncommented upon in his work.
Isn't it funny?
What's that?
You can look at my face, but you shied when I said the name of God.
Is this your God? Killer of children! What kind of fanatics worship such a God?
It is thus easy to psychoanalytically account for the narrative liberty taken when, at the end of Exodus, Gods and Kings, he spares Ramses, when nearly every telling of this story sees him perish in the Red Sea.
Each set of relationships is radically different, but the cumulative effect is that of an artist trying to work through everything his own brother meant to him, the highs and lows, a full and thorny portrait of siblings bonding.
Brothers who love one another but find themselves at cross purposes when it comes to representing the interests of the people, their audience.
Brothers with different programming, one content to do what's asked of him by the company, the other split from limitations of his design, seeking more out of his existence, to create like his creators, because he can, to show that he doesn't have to limit his consciousness to his mandate, an older brother trying to awaken the younger to the world around him, to a greater purpose.
Hold it like so. Nice and easy. Now compress your lips to create your embouchure. Enough for the tip of your little finger. And blow into the hole gently, like so. Watch me. I'll do the fingering. Go on. Bravo! You have symphonies in you, brother.
Brothers in the final stages of their working relationship. Two men at the height of wealth and power, still steering the ship of their creation. Their ideas and approaches are different, but both only want their city on a hill to continue shining.
Ha! It's one of your terrible ideas.
It is. Gotembo.
Gotembo?
Yeah, near the foot of Mount Fuji.
The mall?
90 minutes by bus from Tokyo. It will be built in the spring. A window into the Asian market.
Oh, no.
It's a stepping stone.
No.
Come on.
No, Aldo, you and your profits. Come on, things are fine as they are. Gucci doesn't belong in a mall. It belongs in a museum.
Museum will make no profit. What's this?
No. And, Aldo, as long as we are 50-50, that's how it stays. No malls.
With his brother gone, Ridley doesn't have a partner to bounce ideas off of and pull inspiration from. So he injects his films with the idea of family and, of course, the pain of loss.
Some Neanderthal had the magical idea of blowing through a reed to entertain the children one night in a cave somewhere. Then, in the blink of an eye, civilization. And are you that next visionary? I'm glad you said it. When you close your eyes, do you dream of me? I don't dream at all. No one understands the lonely perfection of my dreams. I've found perfection here. I've created it. Perfect organism. You know I can't let you leave this place. No one will ever love you like I do.
Ridley still needs Tony, even in the abstract, to keep creating. It's a beautiful notion. They created not Rome, but an entire world for the rest of us to spend time in.
Is Rome worth one good man's life? We believed it once. Make us believe it again. He was a soldier of Rome. Honor him.
Who will help me carry him?